The third foundation for us to lay to truly get the most out of understanding this fatherhood of God is to understand what is meant by the spirit of sonship. But in Romans 8, we're introduced to one of only 3 occasions in the Bible where we see this new identity of an intimate relationship with God revealed, where we see Paul writing about Abba Father. We can call and approach God as Abba Father. This is one of only 3 occasions. In Mark chapter 14, in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus calls out to Father as Abba when he's saying, I'm facing the cross and I need your help. Take this cup away from me, but not your will but mine. He refers in that moment of crisis to this intimate relationship with Abba. And similarly, in Galatians 4, Paul is talking about this whole idea of adoption as sons of God, and into that says that this relationship as sons allows us to approach God and call him Father. But in that there's a sense of this cry of Abba coming from somewhere deep within us. There's a natural, intimate, emotional cry from the depth of our being going, oh, Abba! And it's that sense of the intimacy of relationship overflowing. We've spent a lot of time understanding that to understand God, we need to understand the names of God because they reveal his character and his identity. And this name Abba takes this to a whole new relationship where Jesus is introducing us to this sense of Father. Abba was the Aramaic word for father, for dad, as we might call that, and something of the language of the day. But it speaks of this, when Jesus uses it, it speaks of his deep relationship with Father before the beginning of time, the intimacy of the Trinity. Whereas Paul, when he's using it, Paul was somebody who hated Christians, who as Saul would travel to persecute and put Christians to death. He witnessed the death of Stephen, and he would seek to kill Christians until he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, had this life-changing encounter, and consequently developed a tremendously a deep sense of the grace of God. And it's out of that grace of God that Paul understands this spirit of sonship. I love grace, and I love that whole depth of it. One of my favourite films, or one of my favourite plays, is Les Miserables, where it unpacks the difference between law and grace. And in there we see the hero of the story, who is taken in. He's a criminal who has been sent to prison for stealing a loaf of bread, who's released on parole but told one more slip up and you're going to be locked away in one of his prison hulks for life. And nobody really wants to give him a proper chance, and he's taken in by a bishop, but in the night steals his silverware, runs away, is caught by the police and brought back. And the bishop at that point has 3 choices. He could say to Jean Valjean, I've got my silver back, you've done something wrong, you deserve to pay the consequences, send him away, lock him up. That would be justice. Or he could say, well, I've got my silverware back, no harm done, let him go. That would be mercy. But the bishop does something absolutely life transformational, where he turns around to Valjean and says, you forgot the candlesticks. The police go, oh, okay, and they leave, and Valjean is stood with these 2 candlesticks in his hands, looking at them. And the bishop says, use this opportunity to change your life. And grace transforms Valjean. The candlesticks are this theme where God gives us what we don't deserve. And that's what we have in grace, and that's what we have in this spirit of sonship, where our response to God comes out of grace, out of forgiveness, out of the overflow of gratitude, of love, a heart that says, I've been transformed by God. And we can move from knowing God just as the holy creator to having an intimate relationship with him. That's the spirit of sonship. And I wonder, have you experienced some of that?